So if you thought that I was not going to drop a review for the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle Hour demo, you surely was mistaken. But I bet you guys are thinking that I'm going to come with some kind of video where I'm praising a lot of what they're giving us. You know, obviously, with the trend of my videos all posting in regards to how things are being overhauled and how things are supposed to be better and all that good stuff, those concepts are not being carried into this review. We are not here to biasly say A, B, C, D, or X, Y, Z, whatever it is. I'm not here to promote a game that obviously is not ready. And per the demo, per the information, and per everything that we've gotten, we clearly know that this game itself, offline, and there's going to be a lot of comparisons going on here, but ultimately what we got is that there are two different experiences happening here. And those experiences are totally contrasting because of what is being given to a certain audience and then what's being given to us and whatnot. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the demo into three parts. Part one is going to be the presentation. Part two is going to be the netcode, and part three is going to be the overall issues that I encountered. Not that the general public encountered, but that I encountered in my experience in regards to All-Star Battle Hour. So let's go ahead and begin this demo and break down exactly what worked, what didn't work, and what needs to be fixed in order for JoJo's All-Star Battle Hour to be the game that it's supposed to be and the game that they are promoting. Let's get it. All right, so the first thing I want to go ahead and talk about is presentation of the game. I want to start this up with, of course, obvious game footage from my actual gameplay. You guys will not see me actually in the screen. What you guys are seeing is a previous gameplay video that we had here. And the first thing I want to go ahead and show off is, of course, the presentation. Now, this is not indicative of the final presentation, but it's a clear presentation that we got going on here, which obviously shows us how the game is going to be looking. Unlike the previous All-Star Battle, this one is much cleaner in regards to the sections, in regards to the layouts. So online, practice, and options, those are the three options that we have. Although this is the short size menu, the presentation means a lot. And the overall thematic, the overall colors, the overall select mode, and all that good stuff, it looks really good. So presentation itself, I don't have much to say in this regards. The presentation of the characters being introduced into the battle is another thing, of course. There's just, again, a lot of presentation and a lot of well-colored, a lot of good colors, bright colors presenting itself in each individual screen, whether you go into the option menu, whether you go into the fight menu, whether you go into the multiplayer menu, they all have all these different colors, all these different assets that, of course, were originally used in All-Star Battle Hour. Needless to say, another factor to point out is that this was officially announced in the interview by the producers of JoJo's All-Star Battle Hour. The online multiplayer lobby experience is not going to exist. They did say that online multiplayer will be a maximum of 2 players, and that's how the lobbies are going to be set up. I looked not only in the demo in order to find some kind of presentation to be able to do so, to give you guys a hint as to how this will work, especially when I try to host the battle. It only opens up the room for one person. This is not going to be changed at any point in time whatsoever. You're going to essentially have to deal with this, and for those who are doing tournaments, it is very unfortunate that there is no spectator mode, so there will be no way for you to watch the matches in real time unless you do game share or screen share, which obviously, depending on the connection and the quality and all that good stuff, goes into a lot of goes into that realm where is not going to be fun for those who are content producers. So that's part of the dinger, part of the problem. This is a huge problem for those who like the tournament scenes, for those who like the competitive scene and want to host lobbies and want to play against other people without having to create a new lobby, create a new thing. Those things matter, and unfortunately to CC2, it just didn't. For this game to be put out there by the developers as a game that's going to appeal to both the casual gaming fighter and to the core fighting game players, the people who actually play fighting games, I think that that's something that they kind of dropped the ball on, especially because this game would have definitely benefited from the fact that it would have had a lobby with multiple players being able to being added in spectate mode. Another thing about the presentation has to do with, of course, now the settings and how the character select screen looks. The character select screen now gives you obviously the outfit, the normal. You can pick between alternate outfits, all the colors. The assist also is added into the design. You can also pick, of course, your taunts that you could do mid-game, so on and so forth. Those are all things that were given to us in that regard as the way to go ahead and pick your character. Now, further down the road, which wasn't shown here, is the fact that most of these characters are possibly going to have multiple techniques like anti-air, fireball, all that. They'll start off with one, but as the game gets patched, as the game moves forward, more than likely they will be adding more assist techniques for each character in order to compensate and of course extend the life of the game. Now, I'm big on simplicity and I'm big on developers being able to give you quick access and easy access and actually giving you a vibe overall when you hop into their game that is very welcoming. And JoJo's All-Star Battle R does that. It's a world of difference, to be honest. You don't want to play a game that looks bland or that looks boring to the audience when you yourself know that the game itself probably is fun. So that's just something that I really enjoyed and is part of the big presentation. Now that we got all that settled and talked about in regards to presentation and what we got, I honestly gave that in I actually gave the presentation to this game a solid 9 out of 10. I couldn't ask for more for a demo. Obviously, it's short and sweet because we only have so many things that we could look through. But just by the glimpse of what we got, I honestly think that that's not going to be convoluted or feel like, you know, we have to do too much in order to start a match or anything like that of the sort. I won't talk about the actual gameplay HUD or anything like that because that's already put in a breakdown video that I posted already earlier. And if you guys want to check that out, I'll leave it in the description. Nonetheless, here, what I do want to talk about is the experience online, my personal experience online. So this game suffers from a lot. And as you saw, and as you noticed, I start off with the problems immediately. The first thing that this game suffers is from certain hitbox confirmation. Certain characters designed in this game are completely broken to the point where if the character's standing, a la Jotaro, for example, and he does a weak standing, even if you are doing an overhead, his standing confirms. His standing weak attack confirms over your overhead, which, being brutally honest, unless that weak attack was an anti-air, it shouldn't do that. But I did run into that a lot where I would try to do an overhead and a lot of the other players would just bait on me and try to catch me jumping so they could go ahead and just hit me with the weak. The stand users are particularly notorious for this. Jotaro has amazing reach with his stand, and above and beyond that has this particular advantage where overheads just do not work on him. Unfortunately, this is something that is a character hitbox problem, and it is a major problem based off who you're fighting, because this game does not have any wake up movements, i.e., you cannot use a technique like a DP, for example, like the one shown on the screen by Jonathan Joestar just now. It can counter it by simply just pressing down triangle and stopping the movement from happening. Not everyone has an EXDP. The common users are the only people that have EXDPs. And even then, still, you still have a problem that when you use the EX, let's say, for example, overdrive uppercut, you still can end up getting knocked out of it by simply timing it and hitting the character with a down heavy or a down medium. So as far as it goes, wake up DPs still doesn't exist in this game. The Okies have definitely made their ways into this game, which is part of my game experience. Being able to feel that I can put a character in the blender and mix them up, wait, put the pressure, and if they try to do something, being able to go ahead and grapple them, slam them, they have to tech, they have to guess my mix. That has made its way to JoJo's All-Star Battle R, which was not originally in All-Star Battle. And of course, with the same addition of the flash step or the side step counter, it is still there. So upon wake up, your character doesn't have some kind of movement that allows him to step back or allows him to attack immediately to stop the character that's attacking him. You can always press down the moment upon hit, and you could dodge to the side, and it immediately opens the character that you're fighting, so on and so forth. Ultimately, that's just something that plays well with this kind of game concept. And the game concept that we got here is Street Fighter versus Tekken. Believe it or not, the basis of this game is essentially Street Fighter versus Tekken. A lot of it is derived off the 2D world of Street Fighter into a 3D world, sidestepping kind of environment of Tekken. But all the characters, or the majority of the characters, play like Street Fighter characters, which makes sense because doing certain combinations a la Tekken would be insanely hard, and we already seen how that worked out for that original game. So taking those essence and putting it into JoJo characters, I think personally that worked wonders for this game. Unfortunately, does that change the fact that certain hitboxes and certain things in regards to the input are broken and should be fixed? No, it does not change that matter. Just on screen right now, the guy literally had me flipping, and for some reason his character ended up twisting in a janky way and still hitting me with that last hit on an auto combo style thing, where honestly, in a game that's supposed to be competitive, auto comboing, for one, is heavily looked down upon, and this game gives you easy beat, so i.e. auto combos. And two, the readjustments with the auto combos is a problem that may or may not be looked into to adjust in the future for this game. When I played this game with pretty much 85% of the fan base that I played with, whether it was a random, whether it was one of my mods or one of my friends or whatnot, the game played very smooth. On day one, I had no issues with people that were in North America. I played a lot of people from Europe on day two, and in day two, I had some misses, some hits. I had one entire match where legitimately it was frame by frame by frame, frame by frame by frame, frame by frame by frame. Nothing changed whatsoever throughout the entire match. Fortunately, I did 2 matches with him to make sure that it wasn't just, a thing on the server and whatnot. And turned out that it was just that the netcode itself was just not handling what was happening. So playing people that are in Japan, playing people that might be in Europe, and you're sitting on the West Coast, that's going to be a problem. This game's netcode is predicated on delay-based netcoding, and the developers have no, and I repeat, no kind of concept in sight of implementing rollback netcode for a game like this. Yeah, understand that this game was not rebuilt from the ground up. This game was ported updated and overhauled on a certain level, which changes the dynamic of how this game should have been rebuilt if they were going to re-release this game. Thus, we have the conundrum where Cyber Connect 2 is not listening to the audience and to the things that we want as part of the game. So, unfortunately, that is something that has come to pass. This game will have delayed net code. This is an unfortunate thing. You will have to get that cable. You will have to get closer to that TV, to that Wi-Fi box. You will have to go ahead and adapt if you truly want to play this game online. The experience is different between online and offline, obviously. And that's something that I mentioned earlier. The offline experience, if this game had an offline mode, I can see where this game is going to work, hypothetically. But the experience that everyone is going to have in this era of gaming is not going to be local. So having local offline mode is great, but unfortunately in 2022, local playing is very limited unless you live with your friends from high school and stuff all around the area. This game is failing on that aspect, and part of that, in that regards, that's where I have to hit this game with a very solid C+ in regards to gameplay. Not only that, we have a problem called desyncing. That is right. Desyncing has happened in days 2 through 4 or 5 that I played this game. Like I mentioned in the video, this happens when the assets that are on screen are clashing with the coding in the background, thus causing the servers to end up basically folding in on each other. And unfortunately, what ends up happening is that whatever the other person is seeing on screen is not what is actually happening, and vice versa. This is one of the matches that I had insane amount of desync. Shout out to Just Legend 235 who allowed me to post the video. Obviously, me and him were playing, doing our thing and whatnot. But unfortunately, Just Legend had an issue where every time I would use Jonathan Joestar, or I would use a certain technique with Dio, the game was desyncing, and what would end up happening is that I would be doing a combo and he would basically be like 5 seconds behind in regards to being able to counter what was happening to me. This is happening in a video game in 2022? Yes. Is this something that's supposed to be happening in a video game in 2022? No, not at all. So, Cyber Connect 2 is notorious for having a lot of desyncing problems, and this game makes it no better. Though that in and of itself soured my gaming experience to the point where in the last day of the demo, I truly did not really want to play. I played the game for a few hours, and the moment I played with one of my friends and it desynced all 3 of our matches, I turned off my PlayStation. I turned off my PlayStation. You gotta understand that for me to just stop playing something, one is me turning off the game and saying, screw this game. 2 is me sitting here and saying, I'm just gonna turn everything off and go to sleep. Because of that, this demo's overall is a train wreck. Overall, a train wreck. This demo was a train wreck. It should have never been released at this point in time. It should have probably been released 2-3 weeks later, maybe a month like I told you guys in the video with my open beta video that I said that this should have been an open beta. Around that time, in August, right before the game came out, was the best time to go ahead and drop the demo with not just 4 characters. Give us a decent roster that we feel like, we could play this game and feel how each and every character differentiated itself from one to the other. The demo didn't do that with the 4 cast characters that we had. Ultimately, it has to get fixed. A lot of things need to get worked on. The hit confirmations from the weak standing needs to get worked on. All of those things ultimately will go ahead and eventually get this game to where it's supposed to be. And hopefully by day one, the majority of these stuffs end up getting fixed, patched, whatever you want to call it. So that way we could truly have the gaming experience that we surely wanted with JoJo's All-Star Battle. I wasn't going to sugarcoat all the bad stuff. I wasn't going to go ahead and take away all the good experience that I had, because overall, those were the things that generally happen in a lot of my games. But when I had decent matches in regards to everything, overall, I had amazing matches. Players out there that I literally saw doing some amazing combos that I was just like, wow, you've only had a day and look at the things you've come up with. I was amazed at the Dio combos. I was amazed at the Jolene stuff that they were coming up with. I was amazed at the combos that I was coming up with in the training sessions and in the labs and putting them to use over in the online mode. So the fun of the game is there. Offline, the game works perfectly. And playing in practice, I felt like this game 100% locally in tournaments. If this ever gets to local tournaments where you're playing locally, the game will work amazingly, period. But unfortunately, we live in an online world. And by living in an online world, we have to address what we're getting in an online world, which is the following: train wreck. If this game does not fix its issues, this game will be a train wreck upon release, and this game will surely suffer to the point where there won't be no comeback for another JoJo game. A lot of the YouTubers, a lot of the commentators, a lot of the people who've played the game have ultimately turned around and shown a lot of disdain for the game based off the demo, and I've already called it a trash bin, fire pit, you name it. Any name of the book to call the game trash, it's coming out there already based off just the fact that they screwed the demo up. It is a passion project. All-Star Battle worked a lot better than this game, even though it had a lot more janky stuff happening in regards to how the combo system worked. My opinion is in law. What do you guys think about JoJo's All-Star Battle R demo? What was your experience, whether you was on Wi-Fi, whether you was on Ethernet, whether you was playing against European players and whatnot? I want to know what you experienced, because my experience was at an 80% clip. I had a very good, decent amount of matches, and I barely suffered from any netcode misbalance. And I was streaming to 2 sites and doing all this stuff. So those things, those concepts apply to me when I am talking in regards to you guys. And I know a lot of you guys aren't streaming and aren't doing any type of those kind of concepts. So just with that being stated, I just want to know what you guys, what was your guys' experience? And ultimately, that's where I'm going to leave this review at. If you have a preload set, if you have a pre-order set, if you're buying the collector's edition or JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R, my personal opinion would be that I feel like you should reserve the game if you're a true JoJo fan. But if you're looking to get into JoJo's and you're like, I never played Eyes of Heaven, I never played the original All-Star Battle R, and I want a JoJo's video game, this might be the one game that I will have to tell you that it is really up to you if you want to take the chance to gamble and see what you get day one. That's all I got in this video. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Thank you for watching. I know this one is a little bit longer than usual. 15 minutes is the goal, if we can do that, of course. And that's all I got. Holla at the boy. Thank y'all for watching. Peace out.